Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel or my IGTV, wherever you are watching this. I'm Sid Lish and I actually am about to leave Bali. I've been in Bali for the last month and I'm very sad. It's bittersweet. I want to share my takeaways from this experience, specifically going to something called the Bali Silent Retreat. 2-3 weeks ago, I went to a Bali Silent Retreat here in Bali, Indonesia, 4 days. I literally did not talk. I was in the middle of nowhere. There was no technology. I put my phone into a box. I put my laptop into a box. I literally had no connection with the outside world whatsoever. Go as long as you want. Most of the people there are there for like months at a time, which is nuts. 4 days was like so enough for me. My intention with going was just to have a really stretchy and uncomfortable experience. And I love to talk. I love to be in conversation. I thrive on relationships and community and having conversations with people. So this was super stretchy for me, but I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so grateful that I got out of my comfort zone to do it. So you wanted me to share insight on the takeaways that I had while I was there. So that is what I'm here to do, share the 8 takeaways, what I did while I was there, essentially the biggest takeaways. So again, I had zero technology. There was barely running water. Everything was run on solar. So it was like the salt of the earth. And the food that they cooked there was all organic, gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, vegetarian. Everything that they used as far as ingredients there was made at that farm. So every single thing that I consumed was literally from farm to table. Not one piece of plastic was there. Every single thing that they did there was resourceful. It was sustainable. Even the cups that we would drink out of were made out of leaves. It was literally like the most grounding experience I've ever had in my life. And number one lesson that I learned, I think the biggest thing throughout the entire experience was how sped up my life has been. Slowing down. Basically, I had several experiences while I was there. I learned how to make offerings, and one of the women actually was like, hey, slow down. It's not a race. You're not racing to get this done. This isn't a competition. She said that to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. Every single time that I was doing anything, I would catch myself like speeding through the activity. I had all day to do everything that I needed to do, and there was literally nothing to do. And I still caught myself speeding up through activities. Like, oh, I need to get this done so I can achieve this and then go do the next thing. And so for me, one of the biggest things that I learned was that there was so much time in the day, and to really slow down in my activities and to be present. Slow down. It's not a race and there's nowhere to be. And I've heard this from mentors before. My mentors have told me time and time again, like, hey, Sid, you don't have anywhere to be. There's no rush. Just chill. You don't need to be in a race all the time. Yeah. So number one, slow down and be present in things that you're doing. I'm talking to myself in that. The second thing I learned while I was at the silent retreat was impermanence. And I was actually reading a book called The Tibetan Book of the Living and Dying. It's like the perfect book for this experience because it talks all about the only thing in life that's constant is impermanence. And the concept is essentially that nothing is permanent. Everything is either dying, everything that is alive is dying, and we don't have any idea when anything is going to end. We have no idea when one of us is going to die. We have no idea how long any of us are going to live. We have zero idea. Thing that I looked at, every single piece of nature that I observed, every single animal that I observed, like the constant thought that came into my head was like, oh my gosh, like every single thing here is going to die, including myself. And it was this really humbling / grotesque experience of just like this acceptance of nothing is permanent except for the fact that we're all going to die. It really stopped me, got me really present in the fact that all we have is this moment right now. So it gave me this overwhelming sense of presence and gratitude for the moment that I have right now. And one day we're going to have to accept that death. And permanence was the second thing that really, really stuck out to me. Number 3 goes along with this too, but guys, it was so awkward to eat and not do anything else. Like they literally give you like, this is what you should be doing when you're eating, chewing your food, being present with your food, enjoying it, thinking about how much effort and love went into the making of the food. Breathe in between eating, right? And I can guarantee so many of us, we're constantly doing other things while we're eating. We're texting, we're talking to people, we're doing so many different things. But to get food, have no rush to be anywhere else, and to sit there in silence with my food, eating it, and just thinking about, all the different work that went into cooking the food and making the food and sourcing the food and all of those things. It was the weirdest experience, but I highly recommend being more present when you eat, being more mindful. And now I actually enjoy eating food and putting my phone away. And it allows me to really just like be in the moment, because we are what we eat. The food that we eat makes up the cells in our body, and it makes up all those structures. And so we literally become what we're eating. After that week of having zero animal products, zero pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, like literally none of that, so good. I felt so mentally clear. I felt so pure, and really just being present in that relationship with food. Number 4 takeaway was only I know the decisions that are best for me. No one else knows, and I'll speak to all of you. No one knows the best decision for you. And if someone thinks that they do, it's ignorance. It's total ignorance, and only we know what's the best decision for us. We go to other people to get their opinion on what we should be doing or what we think we want to do, instead of just going inward and trusting our gut. We do this thing where we want everybody else's opinion before we make a decision. Just to decide to make more decisions and to live my life for me and no one else. You tune in, you get quiet, you get still, and you really just think like, okay, is this going to serve me? Is this going to be the best thing for me? Is this something I want or need in my life? Your body will know right away, like, yes, this is true for me, or no, this is out of alignment for me. And that's a really easy way to make decisions, is to get still, to get quiet, and to just ask and just hear what comes back to you. Another thing that I really had resonate with me is just more stuff about nature. I spent a lot of time out in nature. I just spent time like sitting on benches and thinking. Some of the different gardens that you can go to where you can set intentions. Every single thing that we do actually affects nature, and I remember so many times I would like get emotional being in nature and seeing like what we've been doing as far as human beings, like to ruin nature. And it's really sad. I've really got connected to that, and it's something that I want to start being more proactive in, is helping nature as much as I can, being a little more sustainable, really just like honoring the gifts that we have in nature, just being more aware, being more conscious of the actions that we take affecting nature in such a negative way, that everything that we're doing is either positively or negatively affecting nature. And the culture here and the people, they respect nature so much. They respect the gifts God has given them. They use everything that nature has given them, just in such a resourceful way. When they clean my room, they sweep with like sticks that they've put together as a broom instead of buying a broom, right? Like the little things that they do, it's on another level here. And it makes me realize in America how just irresponsible a lot of us are, myself included. Okay, number 6. This is one that I read in a book. I read The Compound Effect, and I sat down and I read the book in 3 hours. I literally sat down and read from start to finish. I realized how much I can get done in 3 hours. No, sorry. Yeah, no, Essentialism. I'm so sorry. I read the book Essentialism. The number one takeaway that I got out of that book was life is full of trade-offs. You must give up something to achieve something. And so life is basically full of, I want to do this so that I can have this, or I want to give this up so that I can have this. Analyze in my life, what are some of those trade-offs that I'm willing to make? What are some of those areas in my life I'm willing to sacrifice things, or I'm willing to go the extra mile to then have more. So one of my trade-offs was I am choosing to take 1 day off per week of my phone to be present, to reset, and spend time with the people I love. So the thing that I'm willing to give up is that day of addiction of my phone, to be able to have more time with people that I love, to be able to reflect, to be able to get clarity in my brain, and to be able to produce at a higher level the other 6 days of the week. Number 7, the best decisions that you can make are the ones that are the best for the world. I think really when we can tap in and tune in to our intuition and really actually take the time again to get quiet and to and to listen, I think we know if the decisions that we're making are going to be best, the good of everyone. And this doesn't mean giving up your stick, I call it, like giving up your quality of life, but it's about making decisions on behalf of what's best for the most people. All of us are energetically connected. And if we're making decisions selfishly just for our own gain, it's not actually helping everyone. And from the people here, they're so willing to give and give at such a high level, even though they don't have very much. And it's because they believe in past life karma, and whatever they do in this life is going to be rewarded, or it's going to be non-rewarded in their next lifetime. And they give their time, they give their service, they give their offerings every single day, 3 times a day. And they really make decisions for what's best for the planet and what's best in the service of others, and what's going to really just in another life be karmic goodness. To make decisions for what's best for the world, best for the future, best for your children. Okay, and number 8, the last thing that I took away while I was at the Bali retreat, just kind of like a tip, I don't know. Pray more, talk less, be more resourceful, no complaining, and focus on stillness. So really pray more and talk less. I think that's something I'm really learning, that usually the smartest people in the room are the most quiet and they observe the most. And it's something that I really want to be more intentional with when I'm talking, making sure that it's like information that needs to be said. Really being intentional about when I'm speaking and what I'm saying. I think that after 4 days of not talking to anyone, I realized like half the shit I say doesn't even need to be said. It's a waste. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of breath. And it's just, there's no purpose in it. Praying more, whether it's to, whatever it is that you believe in, praying, sending out the good vibes, asking and meditating and listening, and being more resourceful. Obviously, I've talked about that. Another thing that I've learned from the Balinese people here is I haven't heard one person, I've been here a month, I haven't heard one person complain. The people here haven't had tourism to pay their bills. A lot of the people I've talked to can't even afford to feed their families. And I have not heard one complaint at all. They're grateful for everything. They're grateful for, sorry, I'm getting emotional. They're grateful for every tip that you give them. They're grateful, and they're grateful for everything that they have, and they're not waiting to be grateful when they have things. A lot of Americans, including myself, I think we wait and think that the thing that we're going to get, the thing that we're going to achieve, the next milestone, it's going to bring us happiness, it's going to bring us joy, it's going to bring us gratitude, is that instead these people are so grateful even though they have nothing. They're happy, they're sitting present on the ground, sitting outside with nothing. They don't even have shoes, and they're smiling and they're happy and they're grateful, and they're not thinking that they need something or that someone owes them something before they can be happy and grateful. They are happy and grateful, and in turn they receive. So being happy and grateful for every single thing that we have, and in turn you're going to receive so much more abundance and love and joy and happiness, instead of waiting for the next thing to give us joy, instead of waiting for the next thing that we buy to bring us happiness. Feeling that happiness and feeling that joy now and being grateful before we have is the number one biggest thing I've learned. This Bali silent retreat, if you ever come to Bali or you ever have the opportunity to do some sort of silent retreat, I highly recommend it. It was so uncomfortable for me, but what I will tell you is it allowed me to slow down. It allowed me to be more grateful, and it really allowed me to open and expand my mind to what's important in life. And I don't think that I'll ever forget that after being here in Bali. It's something that I want to take with me forever, and I wanted to pass it all on to you. So if you guys ever come to Bali, you're able to go to this retreat. If you want the information, I'll drop it below. But I learned so much from being still for 4 days. I've learned more in those 4 days than I probably have in years of living and talking every single day in the States. So I hope this was valuable for you guys. If you learned something, please comment below. I would love to hear if you guys have ever done anything like this, what you've learned. And yeah, I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.